I agree. I don't want to face EG either.
I don't
DD has
want
got to be going, we're pretty good. EG, they're pretty good too. You don't really want to play against them. I thought Roxkiss actually was really impressive in Group A, and then DD, of course, they came out incredibly strong too, but now it's like watching EG, it's like everyone has improved so much.
Yes.
But the thing about DD is like, I think if you know how to disrupt their drafting phase, you could probably beat them in terms of like their drafting seems really quite important to how they play. Roxkiss, you have to disrupt how they want to play, which is their aggressive style, that kind of, they brought in a lot of clockwork, that was good. With EG, they've got an answer for everything. Every draft, every situation, they've got the answer. So they're winning all their drafting phases in terms of like, you can see what they're trying to do and they do it. The execution has been the best so far in the tournament. They've executed all their fights so well. It's just been awesome. And what's up, Trans? Nothing. Nothing is up. Yeah. Okay. That's good to know. You've got to check in on him every once in a while. No one talks to him otherwise.
We love you, Trans.
By the way, just a side note, both the teams are ready to go. So
yeah, we can. We're more than happy. I'm happy for you guys to start. I think we should get into it. But we are going to have now. Trans has something to say. What do you want to say?
Yeah,
Trans?
no, it's really cool what Trans has prepared for us, and I'm just going to lead to it without actually saying anything. Just press the button.
It's really cool.
Look at the guy we're going to talk about. Do you know? Look at that face. He's really happy. That's the face of someone who's 29-0. Exactly. Like, look at those heroes. Weaver. Look at his death average. 1 with Weaver. The rest not so good. 2.8 with Lifestealer. It's probably, some of those will be going down by the end of the tournament, I think.
yeah, but look at his average GPM. It's over 500 on everything that he plays.
It's over 500.
Do we probably don't have black ready, do we? On the stats? No. Damn. I shouldn't have even mentioned it now. Everyone's filled with disappointment.
Yeah, well.
But it'd be nice to compare, but yeah.
To see who is the better carry.
Yes.
Who has it largest.
No, it's not. Yeah, it's definitely not about the better carry here at the Western qualifiers. It's about the better team.
Yeah.
The better team playing the better execution, and it's all about EG. So we'll see what Mouse Sports can do, and I guess we can, if you're ready to start the game, we'll send it over to you, Andy, and Weapons, and you can get it all going.
We did, in fact, just start the game, so it's going to be game number 2 here, coming up here in just a second between Mouse and EG. Can Mouse bring it back? That first game, EG pretty much had their number all over the place.
I mean, it started off quite well for Mouse. They managed to get the first blood in the tri lane, and they actually won the tri lane. It was just that Black didn't really get any farm whatsoever. And then they forced them into BKB first item, and they had no other physical damage to be able to bring down the heroes on the side of EG. So we'll have to see if they're going to change up their draft, and if so, how. But it will be very interesting to see how this drafting goes, actually.
And for anybody watching at home, please remember this could be the final map of today. If EG win this, they're going to qualify in first place. So they're playing for everything. They don't want to turn up tomorrow. They don't want to have to go through another stage of qualifiers tomorrow in the lower bracket today. So they want to take this. You're going to see the best out of them. And Mouse Sports have to win 2 in a row. Otherwise, the day will be over for them if they lose 1 game. And they will be playing tomorrow in the lower bracket with QPAD, Red Pandas, and IC Cubs. So best of luck to both teams. The bans and drafts are on the way.
Thanks again, James. So, Mouse, it's game number 2. Last game, Feeder got his hands on a very potent Nyx Assassin, and he just caused havoc everywhere for Mouse during that game. The double stuns were plentiful, and it was devastating. So they really just don't want to play against it. They decided to ban it out here in game number 2, along with the Wisp, as EG takes out the Nature's Prophet.
This means that there's going to be a lot of other heroes in the pool. Depending on what EG wants to take out now, they can either take out the Bat Rider, but in the last game, they probably didn't feel the threat of the Bat Rider. That they might just leave it in the pool to see what Mouse Sports actually want to go for, if they want to go for Lifestealer first pick, or if they want to go for something like a Mag, unless, of course, EG bans that out.
We'll see what the last ban's going to be. A lot of choices, though. That's the most important thing. And we had a chance to see a Magnus pick today. It didn't really work out so well. I feel like a lot of these teams are starting to gravitate away from those big impact ultimates because teams are just so experienced in playing against it now. And Mouse, they're going to get their hands on a Lifestealer first pick. And Magnus actually is going to get picked up along with the Bat Rider coming out from EG. And no one can see it, but I can see it. Webboss, you're shaking your head. Talk us through it.
I was just like, it was so obvious when they banned out the Rubik that they were going to go for the Mag, just because Mouse Sports, of course, they want to get the Lifestealer because they didn't have the impact of the Bat Rider, and then EG gets Mag as well as Bat, without Mousesports being able to pick a Rubik as their first support to be able to steal any of those important spells, which means that both those heroes are going to have pretty much free reign. And when you have a Bat Rider initiate, you can really utilize the mag. Like I've been saying, when you have a Clockwork with a hook shot, then you can follow up with a mag RP instead of having the mag RP as the big spell to go into the fight. You need something that can go before, so the other team tries and clump up to help that hero that gets initiated on, and then you have the mag RP to follow up. You get a 3-4 man RP, and you pretty much instantly win the fight if you're fast enough. So just a great pickup. Bane being the last support, or the first support being picked up by EG here, which is another great pickup, just being able to counter Lifestealer.
And by the way, the Bat Rider is going to be played by Demon, and if anybody hasn't had a chance to see Demon's Bat Rider, it is probably one of the better Bat Riders I've ever seen, at least in terms of Western Dota. He is unbelievably good. He played it in the offlane quite a bit. He's known for his little, I'm going to pull you up on the ledge plays. He always finds the most disruptive spots to pull people to. Even if he can't get the kill, he's going to take you out of the fight. And against heroes like Lifestealer, that is one of the best things that you can possibly do. So we'll see how he performs on that in this game.
The question is, though, Mousesports, we've been seeing them running or defensive tri lanes before, especially now with a Shadow Demon. We saw the potential in the last game. You can actually run an aggressive tri lane with the Lifestealer Shadow Demon +1. But will they actually run the mag in the offlane? Or is Demon actually going to run it mid instead and let Bambo play that Bat Rider?
That is actually a pretty good question. I know Bambo does play Bat as well, so the option's pretty wide open here for EG. And this is another one of those things that we talk about so often is, in the first three, how much are you giving away? What does the team think you're going to be doing? Because if you look at Mousesports, Puck, probably going to be mid. No real doubt about that. Between EG's heroes, Bat or Mag, those are pretty much the choices. But a Bane, that can be a part of an aggressive tri-lane. That can be a part of a defensive tri-lane. Mousesports, they have a Lifestealer and a Shadow Demon. 9 times out of 10, you're going to see that offensively played. And they're going to be going up against the Radiant side, which means that their particular lane is going to be pressured to do well if that's how they're going to be running it.
Yeah, you don't have the potential to be able to pull if you don't get the proper start you want, or just get the lane in your position. So it's going to be very hard to be able to get the full potential out of that lane if you don't get kills going. So we'll really have to see what Mousesports wants to combo up with the Lifestealer and Shadow Demon, if they of course want to run that aggressive tri-lane. Still, Alina in the pool might be banned out by EG. We could see a Jakiro. I know Mousesports has been favoring to pick up that hero as well. Even a Windrunner wouldn't be too bad, but that is too quite defensive support. It doesn't really smell aggressive tri-lane out of that. It just feels that we pick up another defensive support and we try and get as much farm as possible up on this Lifestealer.
And the name of the game is try to get Black huge. That is pretty much what you want, because he can always find his farm. And EG, they've done a spectacular job at shutting him down, especially in the first game in the series. It's like, he didn't have anything. He had treads and a BKB at, like, what, 25 minutes in? That is probably some of the least farmed I've ever seen him on any hero in any circumstance, period. So, EG, they're looking to ban out one more here as Mousesports. They're going to go ahead and take out the Visage, so not wanting to be bursted down by that Soul Assumption, ridiculously long range, and of course, it does help you push pretty fast. And his overall team presence in 5-on-5 is pretty underrated, in my opinion.
I'm still kind of surprised to see that being banned out, because I don't think we've actually seen EG play Visage. Maybe when they had Malk, but
yeah.
Who is actually their micro player in terms of Shen and Enchantress now when Malk isn't on the roster?
It's Beatus.
Oh, it is Beatus. Yeah, but I haven't seen them play Visage, at least not with this new roster, so a bit surprising to see it banned out. It's of course a great ban out because, like you mentioned, the Soul Assumption does a lot of damage, and of course it has great kill potential, so not too surprising, just surprised to see that Mousesports takes it out against EG.
And EG, last ban here, still taking their sweet time. Like you said, Lina is definitely on the table here in terms of an aggressive pick, because being able to pick the Bat Rider, the Mag even, because you have a Soul Catcher and a Laguna Blade, we often talk about how potent that combo is, and just how quickly you can eliminate somebody from the fight. Even with a Puck on top of everything else, you've got your initiation covered. You know that the Lifestealer can use him later on as a utility of getting inside of the fight, but EG, they're going to go ahead and ban out the Darkseers, so getting rid of a hero who can potentially go for the quick mech. That's something that could actually set EG pretty far back right now. The team composition that they have, the Magnus, the Bat Rider, the Bane, the only real AoE they have is behind the Mag, and mech is actually fantastic against teams who really want to try to look for picks, especially if you have it at the 10 to 12 minute mark. And Mouse, they're going for the Alchemist.
EG's turn to pick.
I wonder if that's going to be a support alchemist or if it's actually going to be a farming alchemist. I would guess it's actually going to be black playing that. We'll have to see the last hero, of course, and then we're going to see an aggressive trialing with the Shadow Demon Lifestealer +1. Lina still in the pool, Jakiro still in the pool. Could work out well, and then just have black farming in the safe lane instead. The problem is, how well is Alchemist actually going to work if he goes up against this hero in the off lane if Alchemist plays the safe lane, going up against the Weaver?
I'm kind of leaning towards support, honestly, just because where are they going to put him if they don't put him as a support? No matter where you put him in the lane, he has to be with the supports. The Lifestealer can function in the jungle, of course, but you can't put the Alchemist anywhere other than with a Shadow Demon and maybe +1 support, which they are going to be picking right now. So Mouse, it's going to be their last hero coming out for them. EG, the Weaver pick, I love it. Low armor heroes on the side of Mouse Sports so far. You can go for the quick medallions. Some people love doing that. Heck, you could even just put a couple of points into those scarabs. And the minus armor, the Geminate attack, very, very potent. And that's another hero who doesn't often get a BKB. And you look at the side of Mouse Sports, they have basically 2 disables. They have the Coil, of course, and then they have the Unstable Concoction. Silence is kind of a deterrent, but that's what you can make Manta for. So having just a target to empower that doesn't have to go BKB, going to be nice for them.
I wonder if EG is actually going to look for another hero to be able to roam around with the Bane and go with a triple solo and just roaming supports, having Fear and Beatis run around together with the Bane as well as Lina, or if they're actually going to run in a safe lane with the Weaver farming and then having the support just pulling the lane, making sure that Weaver gets as much farm as possible.
A Mouse, still looking at one more, and it's really confusing, actually, to see the Alchemist. You look at the rest of their lineup, but
EG's turn to pick.
yes, thank you, James, for that one. But Jakiro is, of course, going to be played by Cinder, and we saw him actually play this earlier today to pretty good effect, I would say. So now EG, they've seen everything that Mouse are going to bring to bear. Still probably leaning towards that Alchemist going to be sitting with his supports and continuing up his farm. So EG, they need one more. They need a support. What are we thinking?
I'm on your side. Oh wow, Undying. That was actually some time ago we've seen Undying. It's a great trial-in hero though. That works out really well, especially against these supports that are quite slow. Shadow Demon as well as Jakiro, quite slow heroes, so if they actually run an aggressive trial-in with this, they should have some kill potential. I mean, they don't have the burst there, but if the fights go on, then the Tombstone is just going to stack up zombies. But I was going to point out that I'm on your page with them running most likely a defensive tri-lane on the side of Mouse, having Black being able to free farm together with Paz and Syndren, and then maybe even start off Koikwa in the jungle, just pull him some extra regen, make sure he buys a Stout Shield as well as a Quelling Blade, and just put him in the jungle instead, because if they run a Bat Rider in the safe lane, he's not going to get a lot of farm there.
10 seconds
Well,
remaining.
it's kind of Mouse's only option if they're going to be running a defensive lane, because Koikva, he can jungle if he needs to. But you don't want to put an aggressive tri-lane and then have Koikva solo top against what could potentially be a Weaver or a tri-lane. He loses both of those really, really hard. So Mouse, they really only have one option for their lanes, and that's to basically put it in the defensive position. So it's now EG's call. Do they want to try to contest? Do they want to go ahead and sit back and see what happens? Maybe they feel comfortable in letting that Alchemist farm. I personally would not feel comfortable letting Black free farm on an Alchemist.
Especially not on an Alchemist. Just Alchemist having that Grievous Screed, being able to snowball away so much. I wonder what's actually happening with EG right now. They only have 3 people picking up the heroes. Maybe they're having some delay. We'll have to wait and see if they actually want to go for a pause, but they haven't said anything at this point, which is a bit surprising to me.
Yeah, just see if everything is okay. Not picking up their heroes just yet, just making sure that everyone is actually inside of the game. Everyone's still standing still. Yeah. Asking Mouse to actually pause the game because apparently EG are lagged out. Like they haven't bought any items. They're all just standing there. So Mouse.
Yeah,
yeah,
EG
there you go.
Instantly. That was
and Mouse actually want a remake, so
they want to see if they can get better server.
And Quick was already disconnected, so we're not even going to get a chance to tell them. But we are going to be rehosting the lobby here in just a second. So, yeah. Sorry about that, guys. But EG, of course, having a couple more issues, apparently, with their router. But the nice thing is, the last time they changed their IP, or at the very least, they reconnected their router. They were able to stay connected for the entire duration of the game. So hopefully this only happens 1 or 2 more times, depending on how many more games we actually have. But we're back inside the studio. James, you got to have more faith in yourself. I believe in you.
What the fuck is going on? Like, what are they doing? We've
Yeah,
kind of
You
messed
got
things up now.
heroes on the wrong side of
We
the
were
map.
pla-
That's what's going
We were
on.
playing chess, okay?
Yes.
Right? Dota chess.
This
He
is
goes up there,
up here,
maybe.
and goes there.
And Magnus.
Magnus goes here. We have this Weaver was in the tri lane, and this guy was here.
Is that what's going to happen, Andy? Or is Weaver going to go
No.
off lane, back rider jungle? I mean, what are you going to do with, like, Bane and Undying? on
Well,
safe lane?
My personal opinion is that it's going to be a bat solo in the safe lane, and they're going to run an aggressive tri lane because they don't want to let the Alchemist free farm, because that's going to be an Alchemist, Shadow Demon, Jakiro defensive lane, because they can't put the Lifestealer anywhere else. If you leave that Alchemist up there solo, he loses to any matchup, same with the Lifestealer, and you can actually just sack the off lane because it's the least important tower for your team, go jungle on Quakefa, and I think that's pretty much
You
gonna
know,
be
I
the
was
way they're
thinking
gonna
that the same, but when I told Bruno, he told me to shut up and don't be stupid.
do. Bruno.
Are you talking to Don't? Yeah, I told you that.
It's okay.
I'm telling Porkies. But, yeah, okay. Favorites going into the game based off the draft and the lanes? Well, what we expect could happen?
The big thing for me is EG have to apply the pressure quick. They can't let things kind of drag out, because the longer it does, the more gold the Alchemist is going to get. And their team composition, they do have a mag, but that's kind of their only big impact hero. In my opinion, everything else is kind of based on the laning phase and how much they can actually get out of that. Whereas you have 2 pretty big heroes to fall back on if you're on the side of Mouse. So for me, the Alchemist and the Lifestealer at some point are going to be too much to deal with.
What happens if you kill the Weaver? Like, if Mouse jumps on the Weaver, and suddenly the Weaver is not in the team fight, who can do any damage?
Well, yeah, they can definitely kill the Weaver, but the Weaver
No.
is typically not going to be the one on the front lines.
The thing is, if you get, by any chance, a jump on the Weaver, what are these 4 heroes bringing to the table? Can they actually 4v5 anything?
Well, what we were talking about, and this is actually related to that, but when you have a Batrider, the whole purpose is to initiate so the rest of the enemy converges on the Batrider. That way the Weaver is never in that position. Sure, if he gets caught, he's going to be dead. Like, no doubt about it, because you have a Puck, Unstable Concoction, Soul Catcher. Like, it's just no way he's going to be able to get away from it. But ideally, what EG's game plan is to make sure that stuff like that doesn't happen. They want to be the aggressors. This goes with the style they've been using all day. They've ran it pretty damn well up until this point. So I'm kind of going with EG here. I'm thinking their style is going to work.
I'm not scared of Weaver dying, you know why?
Why?
Because who's playing Weaver?
Jo.
Enough said. I rest
Enough
my
said.
case.
I can't believe he hasn't died yet today. Like, not even once, which is crazy, because I think in the first day, we were talking about the Compendium's overall deaths. He played Lifestealer in one of the games. Lifestealer had, like, what, 16 deaths?
Yeah, it
Something
was one
crazy
of
like that.
the heroes with most death. Also one of the most picked.
Jo responsible for 0. of those
Giro
deaths.
is not responsible. He doesn't want to lose his compendium speculation. He voted for Shadow Demon, so he says, I'm not gonna die on my heroes, so the Shadow Demon dies. Probably maybe sending Beaties to feed. Just intentionally, when they're winning the game, just
Beaties.
to...
Well, I can say from experience, I was on a team with Beatas. He feeds.
If it's...
It just happens.
Okay.
We did play against him in TMM. He does feed.
He does feed.
He gave
Yeah.
first blood that game.
Yeah, he got first blooded.
He is actually notorious for that. Sorry, a little bit of shots being fired there at Beatas. But it's all in good fun, of course. And we're just waiting for EG to reset the router and stuff and reconnect so we can get game 2 underway. But this one for me is a lot closer in terms of draft. I felt like in game number 1, EG just had this sense of being unstoppable. You know, all their heroes were really tanky. They had the Lone Druid, they had the Night Stalker. They were able to just get this bit of momentum from that bottom TP where they had 3 people come in. They get the 3-hero turnaround. From that point on, Mouse didn't have anything. This time, Mouse actually have a pretty good split of physical and magical damage both.
Yeah.
You're going to have the Lifestealer, you're going to have the Alchemist both doing physical, of course. Acid Spray even goes through BKB. So they've got their damage bases covered. It's just going to be down to that execution in the laning phase.
Yes.
If EG play as they did last game, they'll find opportunities. If they don't, Mouse Sports get scary. So I really hope Mouse Sports just get some good exchanges in team fights, because It's like Cupid Red Pandas, they seem scared to take some team fights where it felt like they should. They should just be like, get the reverse polarity out. Mousesports aren't a team that necessarily are scared to do that. They have been exchanging. So I feel that with the lineups that they have, when they get an exchange, they'll at least walk out with an Alchemist or a Puck or a Lifestealer, and it will just constantly help them grow as a team overall, in comparison, in my opinion, than when you put a lot of emphasis on the Weaver in terms of damage-wise. And it only takes a mech or a pipe to really mess things up. The biggest problem Mousesports have, I guess, is they're probably not going to get a fast mech on any of these two guys. And Bling Dagger, Midas. So a mech would be really nice for Mousesports, just to remove some of the kind of unexpected damage, even just from a Weaver or an Undying. A mech would be great. So we'll see how they handle it.
Yeah. The thing for me is that tri-lane, the Weaver, the Undying, the Bane, Bruno mentioned, it is easy to kill the Weaver. That's true. But if you don't jump him, you lose the engagement every single time. Can't go on the Bane, you can't go on the Undying, because he's going to heal himself, somebody's going to get nightmared, and you're going to be at an innate disadvantage.
If Tombstone's up, you're going to get caught on the way out as well.
Yeah.
I mean, like when you have to go and kill a Weaver, and the two biggest damage dealers you have in terms of just getting hits on are two melee heroes, Undying is going to really enjoy that strength that you're going to gift him. So, and then if Tombstone's up and you still haven't killed the Weaver in time, the whole team fight goes in EG's favor. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. It's looking forward to this one. I think Mousesports have got what they like, though, in a way. I think EG have got a bit more unconventional, and Mousesports feel like, yep.
Well, we have like Alchemist on black, which is perfect for him. It's Kasumei, we have Fada on the Puck. And then we have a strong Trident, can go offensive. And I mean, all of these heroes are really hard to kill. Even if they rotate their supports, the Bad Rider can always fly away. The Magnus has the Skewer, so unless you do a perfect stun, chain stun, which you don't have much of, he will always escape. And of course the Weaver, that Trident is going to be so sneaky. So it's on the supports right now. I mean, if the supports can make things happen, otherwise it will be a very passive game, and who farms the most, again, as I said before, will win.
I'm interested in seeing how the Bat Rider does in terms of on that lane. Like, do they... Like, the thing is, they've got two nice initiations in a way. You've got your Magnus and you've got your Bat Rider. Two blinks, but I don't think the Bat Rider is going to be getting his anytime soon on his lane. But it depends.
Well, he can always transition to the jungle.
You know, the cool thing is what I just realized,
What?
we get to do Weatherman stuff now. Because I just realized we've got a preview screen in front of me.
Yeah,
so we can actually talk about the board while we look and talk to the audience and all this kind of stuff.
Weatherman James.
I just figured it out.
Jesus, you're brilliant.
I'm having hard... Like, look at this previous screen and point quickly at the Bat Rider.
Boom.
Now the Undying.
He's over here.
That's pretty decent.
In the Undying area.
And by the way,
area.
I just want to point out really quick before we get into the game, the lanes are still wrong because it's going to be a tri lane with an Alchemist top and a Lifestealer in the woods for Mouse. So it's not an aggressive try. Because they can't lane any other way. They can't sit the Alchemist up there.
So the Lifestealer will be going into the woods.
Yes. And the supports will be helping the Alchemist.
Where there will be tropical
My guess
weather.
is that it'll be tri-lane versus tri-lane, bottom being sacked, so whoever's playing the Bat, probably Demon or Bambo, going to be able to free farm on that. And then, of course, it's going to be one-on-one mid.
Well, now this guy gets really scary.
Yeah, but what else can they do? If you put the Lifestealer up there solo, or the Alchemist up there solo, they get crushed. And if you're going to sack your top lane to jungle a Lifestealer, that seems like a bit of a waste because this jungle is going to be pretty unsafe.
All right. Well, we're going in game. So EG versus Mousesports, game 2. EG need just this to qualify from today. And it's the first day of Group B for the International Dota 2 Championships West qualifiers. Currently just paused up, but we've got them all back in. We don't know what's happening.
We do know what's happening, actually.
What's happening? Scrift just hit his hand on his head.
They're lagging. That's what's happening. They are having some connectivity issues today. The EG house having some problems in terms of being able to play, which I guess is kind of nice for Mouse, but at the same time, yeah, they're disconnected again. They said that they had figured out how to plug the leak, is the way that they described it, and it takes a little while, but apparently the leak plugging not really working.
Wasn't it that they actually said that the next step was to find and plug the leak? They know how to restart the router and change their IP, it's just that they haven't figured out where the leak is yet, so we'll have to see if they can get it figured out.
It's in control.
Probably.
Yeah.
He's rooting it for his own team.
And well, we can see the pings actually from both teams, and this server is actually pretty laggy, even for the studio. I'm getting about 200, which is pretty uncommon even to an E server for us. So I'm not really sure if we're going to be rehosting again, just because typically it's like the one rehost rule, and then we kind of just go with whatever happens. And Mouse have actually been pretty nice about it so far, and they've been nice enough to do remakes, of course, if we require that of them as well.
Well, they actually asked for the last remake.
Well, I know,
because
but the one
because they
before
were
that,
lagging.
yeah, the one before that, they actually let it go. So Fear going to be disconnected here. Hopefully everything gets underway. But how are you feeling so far for the lane phase, Webboss? I mean, for Mouse, I'm kind of thinking they can only do one thing.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. They're going to have to put that Lifestealer in the jungle and then just support the Alchemist and make sure that he gets the mass amount of farm that he needs. The question I have, though, is that if we actually see an aggressive tri-lane out of EG, how much farm is this Alchemist going to be able to get? Especially if Beatus goes for something sneaky like Paz did and gets Enfeeble level 1 and puts it on the Alchemist.
Well, we saw Enfeeble actually before today on a gyrocopter, and it didn't really work out that well. I mean, at the lower levels, it did stop him from getting some farm, but of course, that was a game where we had a chance to see a Clockwork tri-lane, and the Clockwork was the big deterrent in that game, and he was on the side, of course, of the gyrocopter. But Fear actually reconnected to the game. Hopefully everything is A-okay with him, and we can get things underway. Potentially, like James said, the last game of the day, whoever wins this goes through pretty much in the highest regards. They pretty much qualify from this group straight away if they win just one more game. So for EG, this is pretty much everything. Same can be said for Mouse. Of course, you're going to get another shot, but you don't want to get knocked down. You want to make sure you get that #1 spot.
Yeah, especially being able to go up against going up against Roxkiss instead. Since we saw DD being such a strong team yesterday, or 2 days ago even, when they actually managed to go through, you don't want to go up against them in the first round when you come through. You want to go up against, on paper, the easier team, of course, but we saw that Roxkiss can easily put up a fight against the strong teams as well. So it's not going to be easy no matter what position you go through with, but it, of course, will feel a lot better if you go through today instead of tomorrow.
Apologize again for all the delays, guys. Hopefully EG can get themselves all sorted out. It's weird, though, that Fear's the only one who's not in the game. Like, everyone else is perfectly fine. It's just Fear who's having the connectivity issues so far. And actually, the last time they all disconnected, he was the last one inside of the game by a pretty large margin. So yeah, Beatus is like, yep, he's the only one currently having any issues. Bambo's saying that he's going to be restarting his PC. So hopefully only a couple more minutes that we're going to have to delay this for. But at the very least, we did manage to catch up in terms of overall time the broadcast was supposed to last, because it was only 2 games in the last best of 3. So this one not going to be ending at some ungodly
Courtesy
hour,
of Red
hopefully.
Pandas.
Yeah.
You're welcome, viewers.
Thank you, of course. You've had Red Pandas. That was so mean. That was like, even for you, James, that was mean.
Polite.
Saying thank you for going 0-2. It's getting late, yet black. I think a lot of people are thinking the same thing. So, we talked about the early game and how important it's going to be for both of these teams. But for Mal's, their late game potential, I gotta give a little bit of an edge to. You got the Alchemist, you have the Lifestealer, you're going to have tremendous follow-up, and Shadow Demon at all stages of the game, even as a support, is still very, very threatening.
I would say the roles are kind of switched from last game, whereas we're only going to have one high physical damage dealer. Of course, the Mag can do some damage in the late game on the side of EG, but Weaver is still going to be kind of their only hope in terms of in terms of physical damage. Whereas on Mouse, we have an Alchemist as well as a Lifestealer who's going to get massive in the late game if they get the chance to farm up.
I have my worries for EG here in game number 2, and I would definitely like to go to a game 3, just because I don't feel like Mal's really showed what their capabilities are. In game number 1, it feels like they just kind of got ran over, caught off guard one too many times, and Fear is actually reconnected for, I believe, the 3rd time. So we'll see if the 3rd time is the charm. It seems to be here, so maybe everything is going to be just fine, and we can go ahead and get the game started. By the way, that Bane, he looks way too happy. He's got his arms like straight up in the air. It's like party time, basically, for him.
Beatus being very happy today.
That is Beatus. Like, if you've ever met him, that's like the expression that he pretty
It's
much
true.
always has. He's saying that the server is actually causing some issues, and maybe we can do a rehost, which I think that Cinderin is going to be fine with, considering his team apparently had some higher ping than normal. So, we're going to be remaking the lobby once again. Running into some issues here at the end of the day, but I suppose at the end of the day it's better than at the beginning because, you know, you don't want to start things off with all these little technical difficulties.
You want to get as even games as possible, of course. So if we get another fast rehost, it shouldn't really be a problem. Hopefully everything is going to work out and we can get this game on the road.
The fastest rehosting in the West actually would be if everyone actually decided to join the lobby straight away, but it does take a while, and Squiff is trying desperately to join the lobby right now so we can sit in that observer spot so I can actually take my own seat. But,
I'm just reading chat.
yeah, I mean...
Yeah.
My mic's off. I've joined the religion of Kappa, it seems, as that's generally what our chat is about right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Seems
Every time I
it
look at
helps.
the
Not
chat,
sure if Kappa is good or bad.
I'd say at least 3/5 of the chat is always just Kappa spam, no matter what.
It's got worse now since we've said
Yeah.
it. We'll see it in 6 minutes.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be
Oof.
horrible.
You will be the Lord of the Kappas this time.
No, but yeah, chat eagerly waiting for the game to start. They just got into the pause. We're 6 minutes ahead, but yeah, 25,000 people currently watching, and a big game. And as we mentioned, both teams will be. You win this. If you win this best of 3, you're scot-free. You know, you go into one of the final 4 teams. If you lose it, you have to wait to play another game tomorrow. You only have one game tomorrow, though.
Yes.
But we'll see how that happens. But yeah, everybody in chat's lovely right now. Apparently, we need to call Malini.
Yeah. Tactical pauses.
His number
Everyone.
is 1-800 Malini.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite easy to get
That's
hold
the
of.
Millennium Police.
Do you want to bring him up on Skype?
I should, yeah.
Chat told us to ring you. We've got a pause. Have you got him on
What
Skype?
do we do?
I don't have it on Skype.
Do you have Malini on Skype? Jaskal.
I do actually, I think, but all the players are inside of the lobby and they're ready to go.
Damn it.
So
It would
do
be
we want to do that
funny.
now, or do we
It would be
want to
so-
do this?
It would be so funny if we just
this
rang
is
him up.
important.
It'd be like, hi, we're on the Good Studio. We're currently in a pause. Could you help us out? We were told to ring you. He would just be like, I don't think he would have the sense of humor or be able to catch on quick enough to what was actually happening. Maybe another day.
Maybe
Maybe
another
another
day.
day.
Yeah. Are they ready? Is the
Yeah,
game
I mean, we
starting?
started the game again. It's like
Oh, okay.
everyone's loaded, or trying to load, I should say. Just waiting on a couple of the observers and casters, of course, to connect to the game. But this is attempt number 4, I want to say. in
3,
terms
I
of-
believe.
3 or 4, something like that.
3
I don't
or
know. I
4.
lost count. We've done a lot of rehosting today, but hopefully the server is as good for Mouse as it is for EG. We don't have any more complaints about ping. Everyone's going to be able to stay connected, and we can get this game started finally.
I really want to see how the lanes shape up. If they actually want to run an aggressive tri lane on the side of EG, that is, of course, what we're most likely going to see, because you don't want to, like we mentioned, leave Black free farming on the Alchemist. It's never a good idea just because he's so damn well, or so damn good at last hitting, so we'll see how everything shapes up. We're just waiting for the game to start off. I believe 20 more seconds, and we'll get everything going.
Are they good? Does everyone check the pings?
Well,
We
we
don't
can
know
check
yet.
the pings right now. I know
Nothing
that.
in chat yet, but
Yeah, you can check the pings before the game's actually
the
started.
pings
but-
are looking good for both teams.
Okay.
Around the same
Yeah.
for both teams. So.
I was going to offer you a hero of your choice to keep you company while you wait. If you want a hero, Wepaz, from our hero pool.
Can I have
over
Queen of
here.
Pain?
I love
Huh?
it.
Oh, Queen of Pain, Andy.
What can I say?
That's
Just my
fine.
kind of woman. But everyone actually,
Well, if so, can I pick one as well? Can I get winner?
Prepare for battle.
Sure, Wepaz.
gingers. You would, Webus.
Getting there before Toby, that's all that matters.
Ah.
All right, so we actually got the game started here. It seems like EG is actually a-okay to play, and Mouse are going to be in the same boat. So we're going to get Game 2 started here. We talked about it before. EG, this is their shot. This is where you want to get basically to the first qualification spot. You take this game off of Mouse. You've secured yourself qualification, and Mouse, can they bring it back? They're going to have to win 2 in a row. And honestly, that's such an uphill battle for Mouse that I just have to try to root for the underdog here.
This is actually very interesting if we look over to the lanes. I guess we should just introduce the players before we actually start to talk about them, but just quick, we got Fada on the long lane on a puck.
30 seconds.
Yeah, this is a little bit unexpected. I knew that they weren't going to put the tri-lane aggressive. Like, there was no way they could have given their lineup. I mean, maybe they could have put Qualifier and top solo, but at the end of the day, you really want to give Black the best possible starting situation that you can give him, and this is the best way to do it.
Yep, but want to go over the players?
Yeah, on the side of Mouse, really quickly, we can go over their roster. Synderen is going to be playing on that Jakiro. Then we're going to have Black playing on the Alchemist Pass. Going to be taking up the reins on that Shadow Demon. Koikva, as being mentioned previously, going to be going mid on the Lifestealer. And of course, it leaves Fata going bottom on the Puck. And I think earlier I said that Koikva was playing Puck, but I misspoke. I actually meant to say that he was playing on the Lifestealer.
And on the side of EG, we got Fear playing on the Undying. Jo picking up the Weaver. Beatis, or Demon of course, in mid. Playing that Mag. Beatis up on the top lane. Playing the Bane. And that leaves of course Bambo down in the bottom lane. Picking up that Bat Rider.
Now, it's a 1 versus 1, so the lane's actually predicted here by Mouse quite well, actually. If you think about it, a Lifestealer versus a Mag mid, Demon's not really going to be able to do anything in terms of pushing him out of the lane ever. So he's still going to be able to farm reasonably well. And then a Bat versus a Puck, sure, the Bat's probably going to be bullying Fata in that bottom lane, but we've seen him actually perform before in that matchup, and he's managed to get solo kills.
Yeah, he played it really well against Icy Cup, though it's another player now. We got Bambo playing on the Bat Rider instead, so we'll see how he actually matches up against Fata on that Puck. But Bambo having the safe lane, he can always go into the jungle if he actually starts to feel pressured, which is a really nice thing with having the Bat
Disruption.
Rider.
In the top lane, Black with an unstable concoction. He's looking for Fear. It looks like he will be able to find him. Jail doing some damage with the Chikuchi, but the Enfeeble from Beat is Black. He has no follow-up damage. His physical damage output has basically been nullified by just that one spell. So you said it during the draft. Apparently getting that 1 point into Enfeeble is enough to save Fear, and let's of course also count the umpteen million stacks of decay that Fear managed to get there from 2 3-man decays, but they want to go back in. Pass, he uses the disruption. Black, he's channeling the unstable concoction. They're trying to go on anyone. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be Beatis? It looks like it will be, and I don't know if they're going to be able to save him here, and he looks like he will end up getting the first blood. Maybe. He's actually a little bit faster than Black on the Alchemist Synderen, looking for an ice path or something to try to get this kill. Another unstable concoction. It's a dual breath. It's going to catch Beatis, and Black secures the first blood. Synderen could be going down. Jo comes back in with another Chikuchi. Fear gonna get chased out with the Soul Catcher on, and Jo decides not to pursue. An incredibly drawn-out fight from both sides, but Mouse, they come out on top.
And it's a really good kill to get off. Like we pointed out so many times in these other casts, is that when you run an aggressive tri-lane, you either want to get the advantage in kills or in farm. And right now, they're getting the advantage in kills. Getting that first blood is just great for them. Black hasn't got any last hits whatsoever. He's got one, but getting the first blood is always good. That's going to boost up his gold a bit, which is going to make up for the missed last hits.
And Koikva being pressured here pretty heavily in middle lane by Demon, who managed to secure himself a haster, and already going to be forced to pop that healing salve, but he's still getting some experience. He's actually put 2 points into Feast. Pretty common for a Lifestealer who lanes to be putting extra points into Feast nowadays, just because of how much sustain it actually gives you in the lane. And now, EG, they're still waiting on Fear to make it back to that top lane. He did have to go back after the first engagement, and he can't afford a TP, and he's only level 1. So for Mouse, that first engagement win was much bigger than originally anticipated, just because of how much time Fear now has to waste.
Yeah, Fear trying to make his way up towards the top lane again. He really needs to get that Tombstone out for them to be able to get proper fights going. But one of the lanes I actually want to touch on is this bottom lane, where Bambo is up to level 4, almost level 5 already, whereas Fata is only level 3. He's been falling behind quite a bit, and Bambo's been forcing him out of experience range because he's only got 4 denies, and that's not enough to be able to get him almost 2 levels behind. So he must have done a really good job just forcing Fata out of the lane with the stick and napalm.
And Bambo's performance is going to be incredibly important because he is one of the keys. You have to be able to blink in, find a lasso target, and allow Demon to get the follow-up RP. As you had mentioned, you don't want to be the first one in as Mag, you kind of want to be the follow-up. So Demon going to have quite a bit of space created for him because of how well this Bat Rider is doing in the bottom lane. Bambo still doubling him up in overall CS. Beatas going to be running the top rune here to see that it actually has not spawned in his favor, but of course that means that Demon is going to know that there's going to be a rune bottom, and it's going to happen to be an invisibility. So Fata going to have to be playing a little bit more careful here. Demon could potentially go down, but it is kind of hard to kill a puck.
Sadly enough, he's not level 6 yet, which means that he can't get the RP out, but he might just go into mid, get level 6, send the TP out, and then start to rotate top to be able to turn this tri-lane against, or in EG's favor instead.
And Quake is still sitting in mid, trying to get whatever CS he can. He's still sitting at 18-3. It's not too bad. Very nice reaction there. Manages to rage the shockwave, not lose any extra health. Demon just casually throwing out an auto attack, saying that he is indeed not scared. But this tri lane, 16 and now 17-5 actually for Jo. Whereas Black, he's got nothing. He's got 5 CS.
And this is one of the things that is really good for EG. Since they lost that first blood, they're still getting the farm on Jo.
Oh, disruption coming out from Paz. They want to try to go on Jo, maybe give him the first death, but never mind. Black getting turned around on the sentry's drop, but it doesn't matter. The damage output is simply too great. The rest of Mao's trying to run away. The tombstone is dropped. Can they chase down Cinderin? I'm not sure if they're going to be able to pick this one off. Maybe they will. Cinderin dropping an ice path, but it's going to be way, way off the mark. Paz looking for potentially a soul catcher, but not going to find it. And EG, they get a kill. They're stopping Black's farm. He's still at only 5 creep kills.
That is one of the scarier parts on the side of Mouse when you want to initiate to EG's lineup, because Fear got an amazing placement on that tombstone so far into the fight, and they were committed so heavily that they couldn't really kill it off, which means that they just stacked up the zombies, getting slowed even more, so Jo could catch up after using the first Shikuchi in a defensive matter. He could use the second one in an aggressive one instead.
Seeing some RP canceling here in middle lane out of Demon. And Demon's movement, we were talking about how important it could be, but honestly, he doesn't really need to help top. I think EG is perfectly content in just crushing the overall farm, because 24-5 compared to the 7-1, you can see the lane advantage, even with EG giving up first blood. They're pulling ahead pretty significantly in terms of gold and a little bit in terms of experience so far, and when they try to engage on anyone in this tri lane, it is so difficult to actually follow it up.
EG is outlaning pretty much every lane at this point. Bambo is 14 creeps ahead of Fata in this offlane, and Fata is being forced out. As soon as he gets 2 stacks of that Sticky Napalm, he just backs out of experience range, which means that Bambo is already up to level 7, whereas Fata is only level 5. And that's not good for the puck, especially when you want to have that Dream Call as a counter initiation measure. If they want to go for them in the top lane, you want to be able to TP in with the puck and then just counter initiate with the call, get a silence out as well as loot ult.
Well, before he can counter initiate, he needs 6 for sure. He's actually managed to get level 5, throwing out a silence on a Bambo, who maybe wanted to go for a lasso right there, but Fata going to be safe under his tier 1 for the time being. And Quakefa, he is getting actually a pretty decent chunk of CS. He's sitting at 31. Ice Path actually going to connect on 2 right here. But the rest of Mao's not quite ready to follow it up, or maybe they are. Soul Catcher's going to be there. It's going to be on Fear. He drops the tombstone. He actually gets nightmared. Somebody needs to wake him up. There we go. Finally, the zombies, I believe, actually are the ones that woke him up, and Fear going to get stunned out. But he is unbelievably tanky. The open woods is going to be there. Quaifa actually teleports to the top lane, and Fear, he has submitted himself that he's going to die jail, and beat his basically just retreat. That was actually a pretty nice reaction from EG, just knowing to get back straight away instead of continuing to fight. But Mouse, they get themselves another kill.
It was a bit surprising to see that Fear stayed in that fight, because they could have all just backed out, whereas Fear just went in. Maybe he just wanted to sacrifice himself to make sure that the other players got out, which was a really smart move. It was actually because of that, but otherwise it could have been a miscommunication. The better choice was made by Jo as well as Beatis, backing out of that lane, making sure they survive. Concoction going out on Jo, but he's going to be able to Shikuchi that, and no real follow-up is going to be able to come out.
And Black's starting to recover a tiny bit. He's sitting at 13 CS, but Jo is still more than doubling his overall farm, and he's going to continue to get even more farmed as this creep wave starts pushing into the tower, so he gets some more free experience and gold coming his way. It's 8.5 minutes in, and EG, they continue to look fantastic. They've given away 2 kills, but it's more like, even if they're losing kills, they still have pretty much every single lane winning for them.
The top 3 last hitters right now is on the side of EG. Batrider, 33 last hits. He's on par with Koikos, who was mid on that lifestealer. And then I got Yeo in the aggressive tri-lane, on the offlane of course, being up to 38 last hits already, and then Demon in mid, 48 last hits on this mag. The best part for EG with this is that Demon is going to be able to farm up a blink before he's actually needed in these fights. He's going to have a blink as soon as he's needed in the fights. He's going to have that blink, and then it's going to be such a surprise for Mouse.
I'm just really not sure what Mouse is going to be able to do, because Alchemist is one of those heroes who, he can fight in the mid game, there's no doubt about that. His ultimate allows him to do so. Chemical Rage, of course, giving him a huge chunk of survivability, but he needs like a Shadow Blade. He needs something where he can get into the fight, get a guaranteed unstable concoction, and have some follow-up in the form of Cinder and potentially Paz and Quakefa. So I don't feel like he's going to be getting that opportunity. We can see 4 currently here on the side of EG. Haystron on this Magnus. They might want to just skewer through. They're eating their way through the trees actually right now. Demon comes in through the back. Bambo coming in with the Firefly. Paz with a very nicely timed disruption. They want to try to go on Cinder, and in the back, first one to engage is actually going to be EG, but Demon, he drops right away. The Soul Catcher is there along with the Coil and the Waning Rift. Demon unable to cast the RP. Bambo, he manages to lasso Quakefa. There's actually a tombstone underneath the tower. Black popping his ultimate, trying to hit it back down. Quakefa now stuck all by himself. Buyback coming out of Demon. He's coming back into the fight slowly but surely. Quakefa trying to run away. Black with another unstable concoction being channeled, and Fanta sitting on the back lines. He basically has nothing left. A Shockwave splits the wickets right here. Demon, he manages to get a one-man RP. Everyone from EG immediately turns around, but a nice disruption coming out of Paz. It saves him some time. A lot of damage being done by Cinder, but is it enough to actually force EG out? Quakefa, he pops the Rage. It looks like Undying will eventually go down along with Fata and Bdiz. It's an absolute, I don't even know what to call it. It's just a catastrophe from both sides. It looks like Bambo is going to be able to fly off the map with basically no HP to speak of. But, again, they do have a Shadow Demon. Demon is sitting over here by himself. What just happened, Wet Boss?
I kind of just lost it in the middle of a fight. Everybody was dying. The tier 1 tower went down in the favor of EG. I believe no one actually managed to get that last hit, but Demon bulked back, came in, hit a single RP on the puck, which didn't really get a proper follow-up, so that was just a really weird fight overall. But in the end, it looks like it actually went in the favor of EG, at least in the terms of gold experience. Mouse came out ahead.
Oh, top Jo.
No,
Looks like he
Jo,
might be
no.
able to get picked
No,
off.
no.
It's his first death of the entire day. And Jo, he was so close to getting that 30-0, but he's not going to be able to get it. So, Jo, your first death, you've been exposed. Time to kick him off the team.
Yeah, time to replace him.
And we're going to get a chance to watch that fight here top again, which is good for me because it was crazy amount of action going on. We see Demon, he comes in, he gets disrupted right away. It's at 2x speed, but he gets coiled, he gets silenced, he dies. He gets forced to buy out. They're diving Cinderin right under the tower. Everyone else is trying to retreat. Quakefa gets caught by himself, and Fess manages to live through it, and Black just running around in the back lines trying to stun anyone. They turn it around on Bdiz. Demon only able to get the one-man RP, and Cinderin comes in with a huge ice path, a dual breath, and then they manage to turn it around. Bambo, he does manage to get away with basically no health whatsoever. He sits over here, but the rest of his team is basically dead.
Oh wow, that was one of the best castings I've ever heard, man. That was sick. You just covered everything in 2x speed.
It was hard, trust me. It was really hard to do
great.
that.
It was great. And in the meantime, we actually see Paz getting a kill on Bdiz on the Shadow Demon here. I wonder if he actually had some follow-up, but looks like he might have had. But yeah, that fight was just really confusing.
It seemed like EG were overextended, but they got the tower. That's the thing where you kind of have to wonder, is it really EG lose that much there? Because in terms of overall kills and experience, yeah, the experience is going to be going their way because Mauser ahead in kills. But the gold, EG are still perfectly fine in that regard. And going late game, we always said it's going to be a bit of a problem, I think, for EG, just based on what heroes Maus actually have. But Black, he's got 30 CS at 13 minutes. That is like nothing for him usually.
Every hero, or every core hero, on the side of EG are still ahead on all the core heroes on the side of Mouse. They got so many more, like the last hit is just...
Cinderin, he's going to get caught all by himself. 4 members of EG converging on him. The tombstone is dropped, Shockwave, and yeah, ouch. That is pretty much summing it up perfectly.
Yeah, and another kill going the way of EG, and the score is now 4-7. Mouse, of course, leading away with this score, but like we mentioned, the farm still going the way of EG. Black's farm isn't too bad. His net worth is almost up to the Weaver, and that's just because of the Goblin Screed or the Greevil Screed, as well as he's 3-0-1. So he hasn't died yet. He's going for the Shadow Blade, which is going to be really good for him to be able to get some other initiation measure, except for the puck. So we'll have to see how it works out, but now Weaver as well as Batrider has pretty much jumped above him in the net worth. Weaver dropped down for a few seconds, but you can see just the net worth pretty much tells the story on where the farm is.
And Bambo gets his blink too. He's actually the highest net worth on a Batrider, and he did manage to live through that crazy engagement in the top lane where he got that Firefly. He managed to sit behind enemy lines, basically, and get out scotch-free. So Mag, he's actually close to his blink dagger as well, so Demon only about 300 away. And this is a pretty normal timing, I would say, in terms of a blink dagger, so he's going to be getting it about when he needs it. Quakefa, he went for the drums and the phase boots build, so pretty common build on him. And his farm, like CS-wise, he's doing great. He's still sitting at about 60 at 14 minutes as a mid, and he was against a Magnus, which it can be pretty annoying still, because you can get shockwave spammed and such, but overall, EG, they have almost every initiation tool that they're looking for, and that's scary, because here we go. Gonna see Quakefa get lassoed up straight away. The Ice Path is gonna come out. Demon actually unable to get the RP. He gets disrupted as well. That might have actually done more harm than good. The Haste Rune gonna get popped by Demon. He wants to try to re-engage Bambo. He's gonna get coiled in place. Black now coming in with the Fiend Script. It's gonna be on Fata, and a beautiful RP comes out from Demon. Hits all three, but the Unstable Concoction actually getting a counter stun of 3. Mouse actually holding this fight quite well, but it seems like EG might be a little bit too strong. Quakefa trying to run away, but he's running right into a tombstone. Looks like Fear actually denied one of his own zombies, as Alchemist is going to end up dying as well. Pos trying to chase down Fear, but the old man, as LD says, he just won't die.
That was just an amazing fight coming out of EG. I believe it was actually 4-man RP, it's just that he killed off one of the heroes straight away. I believe the Shadow Demon went down because he was getting Fiend Script, but just overall, superb fight coming out of EG. And like you said, that disrupt probably did more harm than good because it saved Demon from being stuck in that ice path and then getting the follow-up. So you could actually run out with a Haste Rune, get a Skewer in, get a 4-man RP, and then the fight was pretty much won from there on.
Well, EG very quickly turned this game around in terms of overall kills, and you can see the spike up in gold. They were always ahead, but an engagement like that where you kill pretty much everybody, and then you get a tower, that's a fight that EG didn't even really need to go that well. They just needed to be able to get out of it and not lose anything huge. But they got the tower, and they pretty much wiped Mouse off of the map.
Black still manages to get his Shadow Blade, which is really good for them, to be able to get some initiation. But it's still, like you mentioned, that fight was so good for EG just to be able to get the experience up once again, gain the map control because of getting the tier 1 tower. They should be able to group up if they want to get the tier 2 tower down, or tier 1 tower down in bottom as well. As soon as they have all their ultis up, most likely going to wait for the RP. Blink finished on Mag as well. So they have the Blink follow-up off their Batrider lasso.
Fata smoked up here. He's trying to find somebody. Oh man, Bambo. He could be running into a bad situation. He manages to reveal Cinder, and is he going to go in? It looks like he will. He's going on Cinder, and this is definitely a huge misplay. Bambo, maybe not expecting everyone on the side of Mouse to be there, but he wouldn't be Bambo if he didn't go for the higher risk plays.
There's just one... That's just Bambo Dota, man.
Yeah.
It's just... What did he expect when he catches Syndran and the Shadow Demon is there? Of course he's going to get purged. It was kind of a weird decision to go in, but still... Could have been a very smart bait as well, because Demon, like I mentioned, he has his Blink, and he's got the RP up once again. He might be able to get a 4-man RP here, if he actually does it well.
Fear is walking in, he's trying to distract, waiting for Demon to find the perfect RP. He's going to be able to actually catch one, but it's Quakefa with Rage already on Black. He goes in for Fear, he wants to try to get him a double skewer, going to be under the tower. It's going to be a buyback coming out of Fata first, and Alchemist just gets evaporated by this Weaver Ciderin. Going to be able to pick out the kill on Fear. Quakefa dies in the back from Jo. A TP out from Pos. It looks like he will be able to escape, and they want to continue chasing Fata. He does not have a Blink Dagger, but it looks like he will be safe under his tier 1 tower. But Mouse, that was probably one of the best chances they had. The Batrider was still dead for a couple of seconds, but just a little bit of missed timing there in the engagement.
Tactical feed by Bambo. Tactical feed. Forcing Mouse into a position where they thought they were comfortable, and then just the initiation. Even though the RP was just on one person, it still locked down the Lifestealer long enough to be able to not get out the extra damage needed to be able to kill off Fear. And then they just didn't really have the follow-up. That Tombstone did so much in the fight. It stacked out 5 or 6 zombies on Black, so he couldn't actually walk away. They managed to kill him off, and then in the end they got a 3-for-1 exchange, I believe it was, or 3-for-2 if you counted Bambo as well.
Now, Bambo was looking for another kill, but he actually hesitated. I think for the first time in the history of Dota, Bambo actually didn't go for the aggressive play. So he had the lasso, didn't want to try to go onto the tower, maybe thought better of it because Demon didn't have his RP, and won't at least for another 30 seconds or so. But Fear, he's still got a good chunk of farm. He's been involved in every single kill on his team. He's got 2 kills, 11 assists. They have 13 kills. So Fear, again, just always in the right place at the right time. He realizes his only job, along with Bambo, is to make Mouse attack him. and then they can find the RPs.
Yeah, just be that meat shield in front of the other heroes, especially in front of the Weaver, before we actually get those items up. We see a Ring of Health, as well as the Ultimate Orb up on Jo, so he's most likely going to go for that Linken's, just to be able to negate pretty much the only proper stun that Mouse has in the Unstable Concoction, and just be able to wreak havoc.
He wants to find Mouse right now. Black with the ultimate pop. I don't think Mouse really want to try to fight this. Bambo, he pops the Firefly. Is he going to be able to find somebody? Looks like it's going to be Pos. He manages to get the Flame Break, and yeah, that's a really dead Shadow Demon. So Jo, he picks himself up another kill, and of course Jo, if you guys are just tuning in, he actually died once today.
Poor Jo.
It was really unfortunate. It's his only death of the entire day, and this is his 4th game. So he's been playing spectacular. The entirety of EG just seems to be on like a higher level than I think even I remember them being.
Yeah, they've really stepped up their game lately, and I believe a lot of it is because, of course, because they're all at the same place. They're all in Arizona at their bootcamp or at the EG house. So, of course, they can just bash on each other if they actually go for the EG throws, and they're playing it really well. Glyph's still down. EG might know about it, so they're just going to try and get this tier 2 tower. Might be able to rotate into Roche after this as well if they want to.
Bambo again looking for an opportunity to go, but his Firefly is going to be fading here. But it's a free tier 2 for EG, and they'll be quite happy with that. Now all they really need to do is to start rotating over, maybe take the tier 2 mid. Eyes could be set on Roche after that point. It's only 14 to 11, so Mouse, they have a chance to come back. They just need to slow the game down. They need to not get baited into these engagements where, like you said, they feel comfortable, but they're really not.
In terms of overall team composition and late game, like you've been talking about earlier, I would still give the advantage to Mouse at this point. It's just that EG's been fighting so well that if they keep taking these fights, I have to give the upper hand to EG. Because they're really locking down the right heroes. And like you said, Fear is being the meat shield together with Bambo, making sure that Jo can just wreak havoc on his Weaver, just run around, be really annoying, and just get as much damage out as possible.
And Fear is working his way towards that mech. He's got his buckler already done, and he's almost got enough for the headdress afterwards. Black, he wants to try to engage this. He does have an unstable concoction going, but there's a sentry! Oh, wow, that was actually incredibly close. If Black stunned himself there, it could have been basically a free kill, but they're going to be able to catch him anyway. He doesn't have the chemical rage. The tombstone has dropped. The damage is just too great coming out of EG. They focus him down, forcing Black to buy out Koikva, currently on the run from zombies. And it looks like the buyback might be able to force EG back for the moment, but the tombstone's still down. Synderen taking quite a bit of damage. The Urn's going to be there along with the Flame Break. And I believe that EG is going to be able to siege this tower down. Maybe not the fastest tower kill in the world, but there really isn't a whole lot of reason for them to back just yet. No one's really used anything big. I guess Undying ult is on cooldown and Lasso, but that might be enough to make them just head back.
They still had RP up though, and Demon's actually going to grab an Imbis now, so they might just want to try and rotate back in. There is a sentry ward up on the side for Mouse, but it might not be enough, even with the Imbis room, to make sure that they want to try and rotate in. Looks like they're just going to go top instead, might force a push up there and try and force a fight, just because being able to initiate with invisibility from the jungle instead would be a lot better for EG, but they're just going to go back to farming, and looks like Demon is working his way towards the BKB.
And once he gets that BKB, it's going to be so hard to do anything about counter initiation. That's going to be the one item that he really needs, because sometimes you can get caught out by the puck. We actually saw that earlier when that crazy fight in top lane happened. He got caught by the coil and the silence, and he pretty much just died right away. But when he has the BKB, even if they do catch him, he can BKB, RP, maybe even skewer, and potentially get away. But there's going to be some more aggression coming out from EG Demon with an invisibility rune. And EG not willing to give any room, really, to Mouse. And this is the way that you want to always play against them. The fact that Black has been so pressured, and he still has the 3rd highest net worth, is pretty impressive. He's died 3 times. He's only got 79 CS, and of course, he is Alchemist with Max Greevil's Creed. So it's a lot of extra money, but still got to give props to him for maintaining some decent level of farm, as EG will end up pushing that tier 2.
I would not be surprised to see Jo just pushing out this top lane first of all, and then maybe try and rotate into Roche, because right now all the ultimates are up on EG once again, which means that they can easily take a fight, especially in the enclosed area. If they can get a tombstone in the... It's going to be impossible for Mouse to be able to kill that off, which means that the tombs or the zombies are just going to stack up, and it's going to be a lot of damage as well as slow coming out. So a Roshan wouldn't be too surprised. They might just want to try and push out this bottom lane first to make sure that they don't lose the tier 2 tower. But after that, yeah, probably work their way towards the Rosh.
A mechanism almost done here on Undying. Roshan seemingly the next target for both teams. Honestly, Maus are in a pretty good position to take it themselves. They have a couple of heroes who can tank it. They have Qualifier, of course, and they have an Alchemist who has level 2 Chemical Rage. So if that's going to be their choice, they might actually want to wait until they get to tier 1 middle, actually, because there could be a pretty fast reaction coming out from them. Or by them, I mean EG. But EG continuing to dominate here in game number 2. It's 25 minutes in, looking at a 7,500 gold lead. And the experience looking at to be about 5,000. And Maus, they're just so scared right now. They have defensive wards. They have one on the high ground around where the tier 1 used to be. And then they have one in that bottom rune spot. And this is... It's really hard because they've lost their tier 1 in the top lane. They've lost tier 1 and tier 2 mid. They almost have no control of their jungle whatsoever. And this is when you have to start worrying about smokes being caught off guard. Even Bambo having a gem so they can do D-warding wherever they need to. They're going to spot the high ground ward here, and they're going to take it away. So if they want to try to go for Roshan, Maus are actually going to be blind. But Black, he pops his ultimate. Looks like he's going for a BKB on top of that. Fata, he's got the Lifestealer inside of him. He throws out the orb. Thought they might want to try to go on this. And Bambo's looking for a pick. See if he can find anyone. There's actually a ward in the middle lane. Who's he going to go for? Can he actually even get close enough to find somebody? It looks like Mao's actually going to back up a little bit too fast.
Yep, and Jo most likely just going to take this mid farm. EG is really hesitating with taking this Roche, or hesitating and hesitating. I would probably say they're just taking it easy just because they don't want to take a bad fight. If they get caught out, it could be devastating for them. Because like we mentioned, Maus still got Lifestealer as well as Alchemist in this game. And if they start to shoot away and farm, it could be devastating for EG.
And Mao's smoked up actually on the high side of the Roche pit. Potentially looking for an opening here at EG. Still playing things pretty passive. Jo working his way towards that Desolator. This is something that I think only EG does on the Weaver. I don't think I've seen many other people go for the Desolator AC build, but Jo and Fear, they absolutely swear by it. They do it pretty much every single time I see them play that hero. So it's a pretty much damage-oriented build, but the Linken's gives you that tiny bit of survivability. Maybe dodge the Unstable Concoction. Maybe dodge something like the Open Wounds. But Bambo, he wants to go for a kill. He's going for Fata. Lifesteal is actually inside. He manages to get out just in time. Demon going up to the high ground. He gets silenced. Doesn't have the BKB. Caught by an Ice Path. He could get picked off here, but he does manage to get a 2-man RP off before. And Black, he actually gets thrown in range of Bambo to get the Unstable Concoction off. Grip going to go on to Quake. Immediate disruption coming out of Pos. Very nicely done. Buyback from Cinderin. Beatas walks into the Ice Path. Quake should be able to TP away from this, or not. Never mind. The Flame Break comes out, and they manage to seal the deal. So all in all, EG kind of got away with a really bad engagement right there, because when they first went up, Demon went for the RP, he skewered back, Black got his Unstable Concoction off. If he had stunned himself, that fight would have went way better for EG.
Yep, Cinderin actually buying back into that game as well, or into that fight as well, so it was a 3-for-1. They're going to try and slow siege his tower down. Invisibility, or I mean Shadow Blade being used by Black. This looks like Beatus might be able to lose his life here, but they're just going to back away. Demons respawn now. He's going to try and work his way towards the Roach Pit, most likely, and he's still very, very close to that BKB. If they had BKB that fight, that would have been a lot different as well.
Yeah, he got stuck in the Ice Path. He just got focused unbelievably hard. I don't think he was expecting as many members of Maus to be there that actually were. Cinder has actually been playing this fairly well. His Ice Paths, for the most part, have been on point, especially in that top fight. He hit like 4 people with a dual breath, got the Ice Path off, and the ensuing fight, even though they lost the tier 1, could have gone a lot worse for Maus. So EG continues to remain pretty strong here. It's 18-12. The mech, of course, been finished on Fear for some time. Bambo still holding on to his gem, his Forest Staff, and his Blink Dagger. And I really feel like what Blitz said earlier is really proving to be true here, and that the aggressive style of EG just seems to work a lot better with Bambo on their side.
Yeah, Bambo going for those high-risk, high-reward plays, like we mentioned, or plays, is really working out for EG, especially when he knows he's got the follow-up, because Demon loves to play that aggressive style as well. So now clearing up the wave in the middle, they see, I believe, 2 or 3 heroes up in top, so this is a great way, or this is a great time to go for this Roche. And like you mentioned, they got the Desolator up on the Weaver, which means they're going to get some minus armor going. They got the Empower as well, so this is going to be an easy Roche, and after that they can just start slow sieging the base.
We'll see who they're going to give it to. Probably going to be Jay, I would imagine. Maybe they want to give it to Demon, just because he's been dying repeatedly in these fights. But, nope, it's going to be Jay. So, Demon actually finished up his BKB, so that's probably why they didn't choose to give it to him. And he's still got that level 2 RP ready to go. He's got level 2 Empower. An Empowered Desolator Weaver, that hurts. I mean, that is a significant portion of damage. And the Desolator helping to push the base even faster. Everyone is actually empowered basically on the side of EG. Even Fear manages to secure one himself. So, Jo sitting up here, auto-attacking the tower down. He's going to need an Ice Path. Take a pretty good chunk of damage. But if he keeps doing this, especially with the Urn charges, Mouse can't really go on him. Like, what can they do here?
They use Macropyre as well to kill off the last creeper, which means that they don't really have any counter push whatsoever except for the orb on Puck, so this is going to be easy melee racks at least, and if Mouse commits to a fight, it could be really bad. BKB, like we mentioned, up on Demon, so he should be able to get quite a good RP going.
And Bambo looking for a lasso here, off on the side. Jo still attacking, wants to try to get the melee racks. Oh, here comes Bambo. He's going to be able to catch Quake, but pulls him outside of the base. Fata with the immediate counter initiation. BKB by Demon. He managed to hit 2. It's going to be Fata and Quake, but both stuck outside of their base. There's going to be a buyback from Fata once again. Black trying to make something happen, but really just can't do much of anything. Quakefa going to be the next one to drop right here. It's a 3-for-0 exchange so far. Cinderin has the Urn charge. He's going to be chased down by zombies. Give a triple kill to Fear. Old man Dota, seemingly just too strong in this game. He's played fantastically all day. He's 5-3 and 16. He played an amazing Nyx last game. His Undying this game has been phenomenal as well.
This might even be Rex in mid lane right now. They got the Desolator like we mentioned, so they're going to be able to push this tower down quite fast. The creep wave is getting closer as well. And what can actually Black and Fada do to be able to defend this tower? They got the mechanism up. 1 second again.
Oh, unstable concoction. Wow. It hit all 3, but the Nightmare is going to be there from Beat. The mech is pop coming out from Fear. It's going to be enough to save him. Here comes Demon. He actually misses on the skewer. He wanted to try to get the kill, and it looks like they will end up doing so, as Jo is the one to secure it. Bamba retreating out of the base now of Mouse with that Firefly, but it's 23-12. Mouse, they lose the melee racks. They buy back on Fata, and their tier 3 mid is not looking good.
The tier 3 mid is surely going to go down now once EG comes back into this game, or back into this lane. They're using the Urn charges to be able to get some HP up. Desolator doing work on the tower. It's going to be brought down now. And the melee racks are looking really bad as well.
And Jo, he's still got that Aegis. Here comes Bambo once again. He's going to find Quake Fafata with the counter initiation. Cinderin just dies immediately to Jo's burst damage. A tombstone is going to be dropped by Fear. Quakefa trying to find some target, any target. He's going to infest into EG's creeps. Oh my goodness, the damage output of Jo just instantly killing Pots when Demon finds the skewer right there. The melee racks are currently exposed. There's 3 down on the side of Mouse. Black going to be resurrecting in a second, but Wepos, I don't know if they're going to be able to defend this. Quakefa being forced back to the base. Black comes in, he pops the BKB, he wants anyone, he's going to try to find Fear, but he gets Fiend Script by B-Diz, even with the BKB, and Fata goes in for the silence. He tries to save Black, he's got the Shadow Blade up, he uses it, but there's a gem on Bambo, and it won't let him escape. Fata, in the meantime, does manage to pick off B-Diz. Quakefa inside of the base, he might be able to find Demon. Open Wounds is used, skewered back towards EG's base, and he does manage to blink away. And Quakefa, with the missed armlet toggle, he ends up dying to the creeps. Talk about insult to injury as he dies to the Radiant. And Fata, he might be in some trouble here too. The damage output coming out from this team is just unbelievable. And GG, well played, comes out from Mouse.
Just overall great play from EG. Keeping the aggression up, just forcing Black to not farm at any time whatsoever. When they were just forcing Mouse to come and think that they were doing Roshan, Black couldn't farm because Black had to be in the front lines to be able to initiate with the Shadow Blade as well as the concoction. So just great play overall from EG and a well-deserved spot moving into group stage 2.
I couldn't agree more. EG just came into this they definitely came into it being the expected winners, but I don't think many people expected them to have this dominant of a performance over potentially the second place team in the entire group. So for me, EG, they come into this, they just show everyone the fruits of their labor. They've been boot camping for some time. Fear, Jo, they've got to be my MVPs. Heck, even Beat has played fantastically. Everyone from EG just seems to be on a higher level.
Only thing for EG, feel bad for Jo. He did die once. He did get a godlike streak this game though, but oh man, I mean 38-1 in 4 games.
Yeah.
Almost 10 kills every game. It's just insane.
It would have been really cool, though, to have a stat when we show a page, especially from the compendium. It's like hero deaths and heroes played like by specific people, and it says Jo, no deaths, 1,000,000 kills.
Yeah.
If you have Jo on your team, you seemingly just win games. But we're back here in the studio, of course. That is going to be the end of EG versus Mouse as EG actually proceed without dropping a single match. But Bruno, James, talk us through it. How'd you feel?
We're playing with the cards.
Yes. What?
I wanted to be very compensating to myself the fact that you both have a card up there, which was Queen of Pain and Winrunner. I was going to get Crystal Main and Lena.
Oh, you need 2.
Yeah.
You need to one-up
See?
us. That's just...
But I didn't have time to find Lena. She's hiding from me because of sexual
You can have
harassment
Invoker.
and insults. He's kind of girly.
He's kind of girly.
Yeah, so I'm overly impressed with how strong EG came out. They've so far looked the strongest out of the whole tournament, I have to say.
Yeah.
And it kind of puts things in Group B into a little bit of perspective,
Yes.
so to speak. So we can actually just go to the brackets. I think analyzing that game is pretty much EG were amazing.
Yeah.
So let's go to the brackets. And when I say this kind of puts things in as perspective just a little bit, it's because EG took QPAD Red Pandas down quite convincingly. Okay? First game, definitely so. Second game, some nice plays from QPAD, but overall, EG, they led the pace. They said what was going to happen, and that was them to inevitably win. That's a 2-0 victory. They went then to take on Mousesports, a game that we said should be pretty even. But Mousesports couldn't keep up. It's another 2-0. EG win 2 games very convincingly, which now means that the teams that we're going to see tomorrow, QPAD Red Pandas, IC Cup, and Mousesports, I feel are a lot closer together in terms of anyone could beat anybody, just based off how EG performed in their first games. We've seen IC Cup. They take a game off Mousesports. They can definitely do it again. They only need 2 if they get to that stage, but also QPAD Red Pandas, they had the hardest end of it, you know, taking on EG in their first game and dropping down. They're going to go up against IC Cup, which should be a pretty even matchup in terms of IC Cup played well, QPAD Pandas, they played okay, certainly not great, but credit to EG, maybe it goes more in their favor, but we still felt like QPAD could have done more, but also with IC Cup, when Mousesports played their game, you know, IC Cup could have done more as well. So it's going to be a really interesting tomorrow. And what we do know now, though, is with EG qualifying in first place, they're going to be one of the 4 teams in the playoff stage, along with DD Dota and Rock's Kiss. They're going to be the first place team, which means their first match will be against Rock's Kiss.
And that will be a really interesting match to see. If only because Rock's Kiss was, for many people, one of the favorites coming into this tournament. They had some big showings, especially people remember the EMS Cup Spring, where they were second, just losing to Navi in the finals, but also that loss was with a game where they defeated Navi, I think, with an overall score of something like 17-0. Navi couldn't get a single kill. So, based on history, Rock's Kiss have a chance, but like I have to say the same. I'm really impressed about EG.
It's going to be a great game as well, that one, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
But the reason I think so as well is just because both teams, they like to play aggressive. They
Yes.
like to get kills. They focus on killing, then the towers, then the map control, but they look for their advantages. And even when EG have a little bit of problems in some of their lanes, certainly not versus Mousesports in this matchup, but over the course of the tournament, they haven't, you know, always won every lane. They still end up being amazing in team fights. It's just like, even when they lost Bambo across the bottom lane, who dived, they were like, it's okay, it's all right, don't worry, we're fine. And even at the last fight in base, in the tier 3 tower mid, they were all so low, but they're able to play individually very high in skill in terms of helping each other, you know, mitigating the maximum amount of damage onto them as possible. It was just such good play from EG, and I think they should be a lot of people's favorites to go through first place in the whole playoff. So DD Dodo, Rock's Kiss, watch out. And it's all about the other 3 teams tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah, I think the first game, especially, like IC Cup, Cupid Red Pandas, those teams, that is like the place where you don't want to be right now, because not only do you have to win that game, but then you have to go up against Mouse. So Mouse, definitely not a pushover themselves. I have to totally agree with EG. You're looking at the teams now, even if you're DD or Roxkiss, they played great. EG, in my opinion, played better than either of those teams played in their respective games. So for me personally, even if you're not an EG fan, EG is really, really good.
Yeah. And as I said, I can't say enough. Tomorrow, those 3 teams, it's still very unknown. Mousesports obviously got the best position, dropping down into the lower bracket last. They've only got 1 game tomorrow, and they're going to get to watch their opponents to start with. So they should have the advantage. I think Cupid Red Pandas have a better chance of beating them than IC Cup, but I would not be surprised if IC Cup are to beat Cupid Red Pandas. They've shown some really nice Dota today. They definitely worked well as a team. You could see that they were all definitely just making sure everyone's on the same page and getting involved. Sometimes with Cupid Red Pandas, that's what you don't see. Some of the team fights, they go for 2 different targets that maybe they shouldn't go for. And some of the TP reactions in from the team were a little bit late. They needed to be 5-man on the defense, not just 4-man. Especially when you're up against EG, you need to bring everybody to the team fight. So, have you got anything for us, Bruno, or are we?
Yeah, I think we have to take a break first, and after the break, we will be interviewing the winners, EG. And I was going to pick one, but they're all together in the same house. We also have Mingles, which is really.
She's stealing food.
She's stealing food
off the table right now.
I'm not surprised.
Scriff's not paying attention.
Mingles, you love mums.
Yeah, pass the mums.
Yeah. But yeah, after the break, we will have all of Team EG, because they're all just next to each other and they want to fight over each other who wants to talk to us. So we
sure they don't care, but
yeah,
we'll sell it to you that way, just so you guys, stay tuned. We'll be back just after the break with an interview with the winners from day 1 of Group B, day 3 of the whole tournament. It's EG.